Hey, okay, this is a tutorial on how to install the latest Rebug firmware 4.81.1 REX or REX, and just a little talk about what is different about it. I haven't used it yet, so I don't know. If you have been following along with my previous videos, you'll know that I've been installing some menus like Webman Mod and XMBM Plus, and at the beginning of the video you saw me uninstalling, or rather installing the backup using this XMBPD installer there before the flash files, because I'll be changing the firmware from Ferox. I'm currently on Ferox 4.81 and I'm going to jump up to 4.81.1 Rebug. So I don't know if there's files meant for XMB Manager Plus for Rebug. We'll check that later on. So to get to it, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure there's no disk in the drive. That's really important, because if there's a disk in the drive, when we do an update from storage media, it's going to consider the disk as its primary source of storage media. So I'm going to go here, and yeah, we have Rebug REX 4.81.1. And so this was released today. Today is December 16th, 2016. And so essentially this is a first look. So I could describe to you, there's a lot written about what's involved with the new Reebok firmware, but I'll let you read that. There's no sense in explaining everything, because not everything is really relevant, especially for the most part. Not everything is interesting to everybody. One thing that's different with Rebug firmware is it does have a different method of installing packages. Well, not necessarily different method, it's organized a little bit differently. It has a few extra options rather. So when you go to the package manager, rather than seeing install package files, you'll see three options from where you could install them from. First is PS3 hard disk, next is package folder, and lastly standard package location. It's the standard package location that you're probably accustomed to using. The other two are what the heck. So I'll explain that. The PS3 hard disk, that's if you have a folder packages on your dev HDD0, your internal PS3 hard drive. Folder packages, small case, just drag and drop your PKGs in there, and that will be considered the PS3 hard disk location for packages. Then the package folder would be likewise the same folder packages, just on your USB stick. So if you have a USB stick, make a folder packages, and then drag and drop your PKG files in there. Another unique thing about standard package location, so as you probably all know, that standard package location is the root of your USB drive. Of course, it's formatted to FAT32. If you highlight standard package location and click triangle, you can install all package files at once rather than having to do them all individually. It's convenient for me because when I do install custom firmware for people, I just have a list of packages I want installed, and installing them all in one shot rather than having to wait around till one is installed and to click the following one. It's a lot more convenient just installing them all. And then later on, I'm going to install Reebok Toolbox. This is a newer version. It is version 2.02.11. Not sure when this was released, but currently I'm only at 2.02.10. So I'm interested to install this one as well. And I think it's appropriate to install Reebok Toolbox as well. What does it say really quick? I read something really quick about Reebok Toolbox here, and I thought it was relevant. So basically what Reebok Toolbox is, it's an application designed to complete the full function of Rebug REX Edition firmwares. Besides from performing the CEX, DEX, EID0, and level 2 kernel swapping, it is also an FTP server and is packed with a bunch of useful tools. Okay, so that's what they have on the Rebug website, or what that is. And it is a useful tool, if not for anything else, for toggling the QA, which is what I'm going to be doing on this console as well. So I'll show you that as well. If you haven't enabled your QA, then you should do that. Just keep watching the video and you'll find out what that is. Well, maybe you won't really understand what that is, but you'll find out how to do it. Toggling QA, it enables some features, but what's probably most important about toggling the QA is it allows you to jump back firmware to any firmware you want. You can go to a lower firmware. There is something to keep in mind also. If you're able to go back firmware, let's say you have a disk in the drive and you're trying to update, let's say, to 4.81. Expectedly, the software, the firmware on the disk would be lower. It would probably be like 4.6 or 4.7 or something like that, right? Because the games are older. There's no games that currently have 4.81 firmware. At least I don't think. So if you were to do that, it would say, nope, sorry, you can't install this firmware. It's too old. You need a firmware that's 4.81 or later. And you realize then, like, oh, it's looking at the install data from the disk. And you could have saved yourself at that point. But let's say you've toggled the QA and it does enable you to go back a firmware and you had a disk in the drive. It's going to install that older CFW, probably after 3.55, and you're going to be stuck without a jailbreak. Unless you have a method of flashing your firmware, flashing your NOR NAND chips on your motherboard. Also, this new Rebug 4.81.1 is packed with Cobra 7.31. You can enable Cobra features in enable or disable Cobra features with Reebok Toolbox. What the Cobra feature offers. So what, from what my understanding is, Cobra was like a chip that you were able to install on PS3 consoles that weren't downgradable to allow it to play ISOs. So there was some proprietary code in there by Cobra, the Cobra team, that allowed the PS3 to make ISOs. And it was like I said, it was proprietary, it was kept secret until they released it, which was very nice of them. And people who are creating, or teams who are creating firmware for PS3, custom firmwares, are able to include the Cobra framework along with that. So it offers all kinds of great things, one of which is ISO support, and other things. There's lots of cool things. I'm not going to name them all, because they're not like Webman integration for game, etc. etc. Like it's a great thing. Yeah, really nice. So thank you, Cobra team. It's very nice of you. What else? There's information how to install plugins. There's a PS2 feature that's included with the Cobra 3.71 for non-backwards compatible PS3s, so anything that's after CCHE, so essentially CCHG and later, so if you have a Slim, that includes you. It allows to load ISOs and launch it from the disk icon. It doesn't have any mention of the license files, so if you've been following my videos, maybe you could skip that step, but whatever, that video is there in case you do need the license files. It doesn't seem like it because it's not using the PS2 Classics. That license file is for PS2 Classics. So what the Cobra seems to be doing is to be able to launch the ISOs directly with software emulation. Now, of course, with the backwards compatible PS3 consoles, the CCH A, B, C, and E, it's using the hardware emulator, and that allows you to also use the original PS2 discs, a burnt copy of PS2 discs, and of course the ISO backup would be okay. So here I think everything should be loaded fine. Let's see what firmware it says here. System settings. .81. Okay, whatever. Doesn't say Rex. And let's uninstall the old Reebok Toolbox, and I'm going to install the latest one. don't know if I could just install it over it, but I think it's good practice to uninstall something and then install copy. So standard package location, it's on the root of my USB drive. Here I have a bunch of other apps I was playing with. It is Reebok Toolbox. And in here I'm going to be toggling the QA. So here on Rebug.me website it says QA is supported in all Rebug firmware. It is good practice to enable QA for a smoother experience on any CFW, not just Rebug. I agree. That's the first thing I do when I downgrade a PlayStation. I enable the QA like that. Before you weren't able to do it on other firmwares above 3.55. So what I would, that was the big thing about downgrading. Now I'm happy with just patching it, installing the latest CFW, and then using Rebug Toolbox. So hopefully you're on Rebug because you can't enable the QA on other firmware with Rebug Toolbox. But Rebug Toolbox is really convenient like that. Also in Rebug Toolbox you could change it to DEX. And then install the relative 4.81.1 DREX for DEX converted consoles. So that's it. Seems to be the same. But I appreciate the work that the Rebug team does with their PS3 firmware, and thanks for releasing that, and thanks for watching. Have a good day.